Yeah?
Yeah.
Well, I've played a heck of a lot more. More than anything, I'm absolutely loving the public events. They're just a source of so much hilarious drama. Do you know how many players they allow at one time?
I don't, but I've had a fair few in a few of them.
Yeah, we did a couple the other day, and each one felt like there were 10 or 12 people there.
I think there can be definitely 10.
So because it was rock hard, and we kept getting saved at the last minute by these level 28s that were buzzing around on those weaponized bikes.
Oh yeah,
it was just hysterical. That run of games we had was just those are so much fun. The public events, but the whole thing, the package, I'm loving it to pieces still. But it is worth pointing out again just how much faffing around is involved, because you have to be cool with that side of it. On Monday afternoon, I think I had a half-hour window where I was free, so I just jumped on, and a couple of my friends were on, and we spent the entire time on the tower chatting and upgrading equipment and buying equipment and deciding on bounties to go after collectively and whatnot. And we never shot a thing. I didn't fire a bullet, but that didn't feel like wasted time. So you have to be up for that. I think when people are saying, "Oh, it's disappointing, it's not the greatest thing ever," you have to be as into that side of the game as the gunplay, because they both complement each other so well. I mean, this is a game that's made to be played over a year or longer. If you start worrying about completion or closure of some kind, you will end up loathing the grind. I mean, some people are really clearly very upset about the fact that loot isn't very prevalent, but that legendary kit is basically inessential, really, and comes as a nice surprise when you aren't constantly waiting for it to show up. So yeah, this is a long-term thing. It's not going anywhere for me. Other games are going to come and go, but if someone asked me in a year's time or in 18 months' time, do you fancy a bit of Destiny? I'm just like, yes, definitely. And that's because nothing is going to take this game's place. Nothing else is going to offer what this does. Studios have tried to rip off Bungie's combat since the first Halo, and it's never worked. It's not like there's going to be a Destiny 2 to take this game's place. It has its own unique thing to offer, and I'm still loving it, and it's going to be in my collection for quite some time, I'll say. And some of the backlash is just it's bollocks. And one of my friends said something the other day, and let's just say that I forcefully corrected him, I suppose I'd say, because just out of the blue he started just lambasting the fact that there was just a massive lack of content. And we've done these missions 10 times, and why didn't this game launch with more content? And I said, A, the missions feel quite different each time we do them, with the modifiers and whatnot, and B, you are one of 2 people I know who took an entire week off work just to play this thing, and after over 100 hours, you feel like you're unsatisfied with the content, and you're an idiot. But yeah, I don't know, there seems to be such a misunderstanding about what Destiny is, and I think I'm taking it the way it's meant to be taken. I may be wrong, but this feels like something that you're supposed to stick with, rather than, I mean, if you try and blast through it and you want to trade it in or go and it's not that kind of game. It's built to last.
I totally agree with that. I still haven't finished the story. Myself and Dave, who Dave Turner's people who listen to the podcast well, and Joy Poodle will obviously know who he is, have been playing the story together. We're on Mars now, but been going back through it with another mate, Matt. Doing some of the missions, the low-level missions, on the hard difficulty setting. I know you and I have had our confusion over the difficulty settings, but trust me, they're there. But yeah, we and Matt and I had this sort of almost like revelatory experience on one of the early levels, which I'd done on the beta and again when playing through. So this was like the 3rd or 4th time I'd done this level. It's the last one on Earth where you have to go and, unsurprisingly, stick Dinklage in a hole and then baddies come. But it's the one where the Hive come through. You're like, or it looks like a hangar. Then you look out of the hangar and the Hive will teleport in their ships and basically charge you.
Oh yeah, right.
And that on hard at the level we were was rock hard, but because there was only 2 of us as well. But it was also, it always felt possible. That was the beauty of it. As hard as it always felt if we were as sharp as we can be and our communication was good enough and we were as tactically astute as we could be, then we were going to be able to do it. And we died and we died and we died and we died and we died. But for some reason we just both kept picking up and playing again. Most games I would never bother to restart that many times. I'd just sack it off after a couple of goes, even great games. Yeah. But there was something about this that just compelled us to keep going. And eventually it did actually involve us saying, okay, we're done. You know, after dying after the 10th time or whatever it was, we're done, pack it up, nice playing, see you in the morning. And then as we were saying our goodbyes, I was shooting baddies, and then I looked across and his character was shooting baddies, and without saying a word to each other, we just kept playing. And then about a minute later, we'd both kind of verbally agreed to continue. And that time, maybe because the pressure was off slightly, I don't know, but we absolutely battered the level. It was still at a level of intensity that so few games can ever manage to maintain. That's one of the things that Bungie's combat does at the highest levels. It maintains a level of intensity for long periods of time that is almost physically exhausting. People will say about games, it's like the classic games criticism cliche. It's like heart pounding, adrenaline pumping, when in actual fact, none of those things are happening. But in this game, when it is that intense, you do feel almost drained by the end of it, and it's almost probably unhealthy to play it at that level for too long. Because of what it's doing to your insides, but make no mistake, this had after that, and bear in mind, like I said, this is the 4th time I played this level, ending up being like the 20th time I played the level because the amount of times we restarted it. An early level, replaying with an early character, haven't even unlocked all the stuff. And what it had me saying is, as I tried to calm down and not just see numbers when I shut my eyes when I went to bed, was saying, this might be Bungie's best game. And I've not even finished the story yet. I've still not done half the strikes. I've not done the harder strikes in the strike playlist. I've certainly not done the raid. There's DLC to come, which I'm happy to pay for. I'm still not at level 20, let alone pushing past that. Like you say, this is a game that feels like it's built to last. It feels like it's there if people want to blast it and put hours and hours and hours and hours and hours into it. It's still going to keep giving those players what they want, but also for people who don't have as much time, like me, and the people I'm playing with who are more... In terms of hours per week, I would class us as casual. I certainly wouldn't class us in that way in terms of, taste or the types of games that we want to play, but just in terms of purely man hours, it's not like it used to be. Yet it seems it completely covers what we want out of it as well. So I love it. I can't imagine sticking... I was going to interrupt myself. I can't imagine sticking a review score on it after a day. I know some... You don't know the pressures of editors and managing editors and publishers and all this sort of stuff when it comes to these sorts of things, so you can't exactly go and just blame individual reviewers, but I think the way Eurogamer did it was probably the best. A bit of coverage here and there, well, quite a lot throughout the time, and then after a couple of weeks doing as much as they can and then putting a score on it and then continuing to do coverage afterwards. I don't think... Because eventually you do have to stick a score on it if you're a review site, but yeah. Awesome. Destiny. I want to play it now.
Yeah, me too.